So as I ride to work today while I'm testing out this new audio equipment, I thought we would quickly go over my advice for the CaRMS interviews. So having gone through the process twice, so I applied for the first time for the 2021 match and I applied again for the 2022 match when I was successful. And I think during this time, I have gotten to know what really worked well for me, especially in the second time applying. My very basic advice is to prepare early and prepare very frequently, regularly. So after not being successful in the first year of applying, what I did was from that point on to the next year's interview period, I practiced very frequently and regularly. So at least once a week, I would practice with someone I knew. This was friends and family. My brother had some CMGs that were currently doing residency, so I'd practice with them quite frequently. I'd practice with a friend from Australia who was doing residency there. I would practice with previous IMGs that I knew had matched successfully, but I also practiced with people that were not in the medical field. I practiced with my brother's friends who were accountants. I practiced with AIMGA, who I've spoken about in previous episodes, but are very valuable because they gave me very unbiased advice on how to make my answers better. And I think during this whole year, I was able to practice the same questions over and over again to the point where I was very comfortable. For example, tell me about yourself, I think is a very basic question, but it's very difficult to do well. And my answer for that question changed in very big amounts at least 3 times. So my first time going through it was a very basic chronological history of my life. The second time I focused on what really drives me, what are 3 main things that drive me, and that's how I structured my answer. And then the last iteration of that answer was actually a combination of both, which is what I used when I did these interviews, when I got interviews in 2022. This same process I apply to every other type of question. So for family medicine, the ones that I was expecting were why family medicine, what's the best thing, what's the worst thing, and I really thought about these questions in their individual components. So for example, what is the worst thing about family practice? While I had answers in while I had an answer from the previous year, I really thought about it and decided that the answer that I had was not going to set me apart. So I read journal articles, I read online blogs, I read whatever I could to see what are current problems facing the family practice specialty. And by reading all of those, I actually came up with 2 or 3 more ideas that made my answer unique and really made it stand out compared to other people that might say the more obvious things that are difficult about family practice. So I think that's what you need to do for any specialty you're applying for, be it ophthalmology, surgery, dermatology, family practice, is really think about your answers and really make them stand out and be unique amongst everyone else's answers. Secondly, I think as often as you can, try to bring in clinical experience where you can. For example, if they ask you about, tell me about what it means to you to work in a team, you can, one, describe it very broadly and then go into a specific example. For example, when you were working in a clinical unit in India, Pakistan, Australia, wherever you were working, why that worked well or why it did not work well. I would focus on the positives, but that is one way to, one, describe what it means to work in a team. Use a clinical example where you can discuss how you worked well in a team, and then go into a broad statement at the end and finish that question in a strong way. So I think that finishes this discussion. So again, start practicing as soon as you can. Practice the common questions. So the way to find this list is just Google commonly asked residency questions. You can search by the specialty that you're applying for, but really think about what they can ask. So focus on the specialty. So tell me about yourself. Why this specialty, best thing, worst thing, what do you see as a challenge for the specialty going onwards. Then focus on the CAN med roles and have a have a answer for each one. So tell me about a time when you were a leader, when you were a scholar, when you were a medical expert. And for each of those, always discuss a clinical example. I think that makes your answer stronger and hopefully makes it stand out amongst all the other answers that they will be hearing. If you guys have any comments or questions, leave them down below and I will get to them as soon as I can. Best of luck for your application.